I transmigrated into the male supporting role of a tragic story. On the night of my birthday, my fiancée stayed at the hospital all night taking care of an intern. The next day, my fiancée promoted the intern to be the company's general manager. Then she emptied my office and gave it to the intern. Julian, you don't come to the office often anyway. Sandy's health is not good and this office has the best lighting, so let him have it. I slapped her face hard. Rose, you're nothing but my canary that I'm taking care of. Who gave you the audacity? Security. Throw these two bitches out of here. The female lead, Rose, covered her face, completely stunned. This plot is a bit off. Chapter 1. I had just crossed over. I was sitting in a spacious office, still a bit dazed. At that moment, the male intern, the protagonist, walked in with a smug expression. President Law, Rose said this office is now mine. If you know what's good for you, you should obediently get out of my way. I hadn't even processed what was going on when he grabbed the coffee from my desk and splashed it all over himself. He immediately screamed, President Law, I know you don't like me, but do you really have to humiliate me like this? The next second, my fiancée from the original story burst in. She hurriedly pulled the intern into her arms, glaring at me angrily. Julian, how long are you going to keep causing trouble? Didn't I stay at the hospital last night with Sandy and miss your birthday? Sandy is so kind. How can you treat him like this? I'm telling you, apologize to Sandy right now. Otherwise, I'll never forgive you. That was when I finally remembered the plot of the original book. Turns out I was the vicious male supporting role who humiliated the female protagonist with money. The woman in front of me, glaring at me in anger, was my fiancée, Rose. She was also a poor student funded by my family. She had been living with the Law family since high school. I had been utterly infatuated with her. Over the years, I had been faithfully chasing after her like a total simp. As soon as Rose frowned, I would carefully try everything to make her happy. After we got married, under her manipulation, I transferred all my shares to her. Finally, when Rose stood at the top of power, she resented the fact that I had helped her when she was poor, thinking it was a humiliation. She joined forces with the male protagonist to exact the harshest revenge on me. In the end, I couldn't bear the humiliation and jumped off a rooftop. The male and female protagonists went on to live happily ever after. I spent the whole night cursing the author in the book review section, seriously roasting them. Then when I opened my eyes, I found myself in the story. Chapter 2. Looking at these two scoundrels, I was immediately filled with rage. Apologize? Apologize to your mother. I slapped Rose across the face. The slap was crisp and loud. It left Rose completely stunned. She covered her face, looking at me in disbelief. Julian, you dare hit me? Santiago, standing nearby, was also shocked. But soon, a glint of glee flashed in his eyes. He quickly stepped forward to help Rose up. President Law, how could you hit Rose? She's your fiancée. I slapped Rose again across the face, sneering. Fiancée? Someone like Rose, a two-faced, backstabbing bitch, dares to be called that. Rose's eyes turned bloodshot, and she stared at me furiously. Julian, just because I didn't spend your birthday with you last night and stayed at the hospital with Sandy, this is how you treat me? Care for him. I looked down at her. Santiago only had a slight cold. Did he really need you to stay at the hospital all night? He's only been in the company for 2 months, and you bought him a $3 million watch. Now you let him, and in turn, become the general manager. You want to give him my president's office? Rose, is this how you care for him? Who the hell gave you the nerve? Rose's expression grew panicked. She let go of Santiago and hurriedly tried to explain. Julian, you know I came from the mountains. Sandy has suffered a lot since he was young. Isn't it only right that we take care of him a little more? I believe he can handle the position of manager. Besides, you don't even come to the company often. This office has the best lighting. What's the harm in giving it to him? Damn, I was shocked by her shameless words. Rose, have you forgotten who gave you that vice president position? I stepped closer, and she instinctively took a step back. You only have this position because of the Law family's support. Now you're trying to act like you're generous with my money. Santiago suddenly interrupted. President Law, Rose told me, if it weren't for your constant pursuit, how could she have agreed to marry you? How could she be managing your company? Rose has come this far all on her own ability. You don't appreciate her, and yet you're treating her like this. Chapter 3. I kicked him in the stomach. Santiago immediately dropped to his knees. He hunched over like a shrimp, his face contorted in pain. Shut up. I looked at him with utter disdain. Do you really think you have a say here? He gritted his teeth and looked up at me, his eyes full of defiance. President Law, if you want to hit someone, hit me, but don't make things difficult for Rose. Oh, I was definitely going to satisfy his request. I slapped him hard across the face. Then I kicked him a few more times. I grabbed his hair and slammed his head against the wall. Bang, bang, bang. Just then, Rose pushed the door open. The office door wasn't closed. The noise immediately attracted the attention of the entire floor's staff, who came over to watch. Everyone was stunned. They stared wide-eyed in shock. They all knew that the original character was like a meek quail in front of Rose. Rose had been so close to the intern, and now she promoted him to general manager. They had all privately mocked me, the president, as a weakling. They had never seen such a violent side of me. Was this still the same law president they knew? Rose was gritting her teeth in fury and rushed over to try to pull me away. Enough, Julian. I'm really getting angry now. How dare you treat Sandy like this? I'm telling you, you must kneel and apologize today, or I'll never forgive you. In the book, whenever Rose said she was angry, the original character immediately backed down. He would always try to appease her right away. But I wasn't the original weakling. I wouldn't indulge her. I slapped her, sending her crashing to the floor. Apologize to your mother. Rose, from now on you and Santiago are suspended. Hand over the company seal and access cards, and get the hell out of my law group. Rose's eyes widened, filled with disbelief. Julian, are you crazy? I've worked so hard for the company. How dare you? Just because I'm the largest shareholder and president of Law Group. I decisively pressed the internal line. Security, please escort Rose and this intern out. Remember, these two scoundrels are never allowed to step foot into the Law Group building again. Understood, President Law. Seeing how ruthless I was, Rose was stunned. Even Santiago was dumbfounded. He couldn't understand why he got fired just for trying to slander me. Rose, it's over for us. The engagement is canceled. Get out. The two of them stubbornly refused to leave. In the end, security had to forcibly drag them out. After they left, I immediately called the bank to cancel my supplementary card. I also sent a notice to my lawyer to prepare a lawsuit against Rose. I would reclaim all the gifts. The real drama was just beginning. Chapter 4. The two of them walked down the street in disgrace. Santiago was holding his red, swollen face. Tears were dripping down. Rose, it's all my fault. It's all my mistake. He suddenly reached out to grab Rose's hand and slapped his own face with it. Rose, hit me. If I had known this would happen, I should have just let President Law hit and scold me. I would have accepted it. Then you wouldn't have been kicked out with me. And our engagement wouldn't have been canceled. Seeing him like this, Rose's heart shattered. She quickly tried to comfort him. Sandy, you're so kind. How could it be your fault? It's all Julian Law's fault. He's the evil one. Don't worry. He's just jealous. He's really predictable. Do you believe me? Within a day, he'll kneel and apologize, begging for my forgiveness. Sandy, don't worry. Since he agreed to make you the general manager of Law Group, that position will be yours. No one can take it away. Seeing Rose so confident, Santiago finally relaxed his worried heart. Chapter 5. Just when I was eating, the villa's main gate was suddenly unlocked from the outside. To my surprise, Rose dragged Santiago in, looking grim. These two bastards still haven't learned their lesson. They still dare to show up in front of me looking for trouble. Originally, Rose wanted to take Santiago out for some crazy, extravagant shopping spree. She was planning to buy him some high-end clothes, all that fancy designer stuff. But out of nowhere, the card I gave her had been deactivated. She called me more than 10 times, blowing up my phone, but I didn't pick up once. The reservation she had made at that upscale restaurant had to be canceled too. Now, seeing the table full of exquisite dishes, her anger just exploded. Julian, how dare you eat without waiting for me to get back? And why are you eating so lavishly all by yourself? The Law family may have money, but who the hell are you trying to impress by spending like this? Didn't I tell you to fix your bad habits as a rich young master? Seriously, listen to this. What kind of savage lines are these coming from a female lead? My hand started trembling uncontrollably again. In the original story, Rose constantly manipulated and emotionally abused the original protagonist. His money had to be spent on her and that little pretty boy. Rose not only bought Santiago a $1 million watch, But after marriage, she even bought him a luxury car worth tens of millions and a billion-dollar mansion. If the original protagonist spent even a little extra, it was labeled as lavish and wasteful. She didn't give a damn about anyone else's suffering. After they got married, Rose was scared he'd waste money, so she forced him to transfer all his assets into her name. In the end, the original protagonist met a tragic fate. I smiled at her with a half-amused look. I don't know, but it's my own money. I'll spend it however I want. What's that got to do with you? Or do you think that after being a parasite for so long, everything in the Law family belongs to you now? Those words stabbed straight into her fragile self-esteem. Rose's face went pale with rage. She clenched her fists so tightly her knuckles turned white. Julian Law, that's enough. If it weren't for you pestering me and forcing me to accept your Law family stuff, do you really think I'd even care? Chapter 6. I slowly tasted a spoonful of golden caviar before speaking. Since you don't care, then hurry up and return every valuable item I gave you. I set down the spoon and shot the butler a cold glance. Butler, take all of Rose's things and make sure she doesn't take a single item with her. The butler's eyes lit up instantly. In the past, the young master's cowardly behavior meant neither he nor the maids respected him. Rose had been bullying everyone in the Law family, acting arrogant and never showing the servants an ounce of respect. Had the young master finally woken up? The butler was so moved, he almost cried. Yes, young master. Rose finally panicked. She rushed to explain. Julian, I didn't mean it like that. But I ignored her. Calmly, I pulled out my phone and showed the compiled bill. Rose, your salary as vice president is exactly $3 million. The watch you bought for Santiago will count as your salary. After deducting the items left in the Law family, you still owe me $6,500,000. Pay me back. Rose thought she misheard me. She stared at me for a long time before realizing I was dead serious. Julian. Her face turned pale and her voice sharpened. Do you have to humiliate me like this? Even if you're jealous, there should be a limit. Isn't this just your way of getting my attention? How long are you going to keep making a scene? Santiago quickly stepped in to pull Rose away. He looked soft and weak, all innocent-like. Rose, don't be angry. It's all my fault. I didn't know he'd get mad when I came back with you. Maybe I should just leave. Chapter 7. The moment Santiago finished speaking, he tried to walk away. But Rose panicked and grabbed his arm, her eyes red. Santi, if I hadn't gone back to the rental house with you today, I wouldn't have known you were living in such terrible conditions. It's so hot, and your room doesn't even have air conditioning. You're so kind. How can you suffer like this? You're not going anywhere. From now on, you'll live in the Law house. Anyway, there are plenty of rooms. One more won't matter. As soon as she said that, not just me, but even the butler and the maid were stunned. Was there really someone this shameless in the world? Rose shot me a look that clearly said, I'll deal with you later, then dragged Santiago upstairs. Just as they passed me and were about to step onto the stairs, my right hand finally lost control. I slapped Rose hard across the face. Do you really think this is your house? The loud slap echoed through the villa. Her face was whipped to the side from the force. She covered her cheek, eyes bloodshot as she glared at me. Julian, you hit me again. When is this going to end? You better apologize right now, or you'll never see me return to your Law house. I frowned and pointed toward the villa's front door, my eyes dark. Get the hell out. You idiot, go as far away as you can. Butler, drag them out. Change the gate password and fingerprints. From now on, these two clowns are never allowed to set foot in my Law house again. Yes, young master. The butler straightened up and quickly ordered the staff to throw them out. Rose's frantic voice echoed from outside. Julian, stop this. You think playing hard to get will work on me? You better think carefully. If you don't let Santi and me move in today, I will never forgive you. The only reply she got was 2 words. Get out. Rose stood at the entrance for a long time, unwilling to leave. Her expression shifted from anger to shock, then slowly into confusion. The two of them loitered outside the villa for over an hour before finally leaving, grinding their teeth in frustration. Chapter 8. Late at night, I was in the study handling documents when the villa's doorbell suddenly rang. I frowned, wondering if Rose was back to haunt me again. Soon, the butler knocked. Young master. I snorted. If it's Rose, throw her out. The butler hurriedly replied, No, it's Miss Moo. Bianca Moo. She seems drunk. Bianca, the childhood friend of the original Julian. She had always loved him. At one point, they were even engaged. But Julian, that lovesick fool, only had eyes for Rose. Ignoring his family's objections, he insisted on getting engaged to Rose instead. When Bianca found out, she fell seriously ill. After that, she never appeared in front of him again. Later, when the original character's parents died in a car accident and the tortured Julian took his own life, it was Bianca who handled all the funeral arrangements. She never married and visited his grave every year. I looked at Bianca lying on the couch, clearly drunk. She was breathtaking. Skin like snow, delicate features, and a stunning figure that put Rose to absolute shame. How the hell was the original guy so blind? Why choose someone like Rose? I carried Bianca to a room and placed her on the bed. Just as I turned to leave, she grabbed my arm. I lost my balance and ended up on top of her. She wrapped her arms around me tightly. Julian, is that you? You really broke up with Rose, didn't you? I dreamed about you again. You bastard. How could you treat me like that? I hate you. I hate you so much. She cried as she pressed her soft lips against mine. Her boldness, combined with her beauty, would make any man lose control. And yeah, I wasn't some saint either. Since she was inexperienced, I worried she might not handle too much. After 2 rounds, I simply held her and fell asleep. In the morning, she woke up with a terrified scream. What happened? Was I dreaming? Then fragments of last night flashed through her mind. How forward she had been. Her face turned bright red. She buried her head under the blanket. My voice came from nearby. What's wrong, miss? I was the passive one last night. You're not planning to back out now, are you? Bianca panicked instantly. She peeked out, looking at me with a pitiful expression. Julian, I'll definitely take responsibility for you. Seeing her flustered, worried face, I felt a sudden softness in my chest. I gently pinched her nose. All right, Bianca. I was wrong in the past. From now on, I won't let you suffer anymore. Tears filled her eyes. She hugged me tightly, crying and laughing like a fool at the same time. We spent a while reminiscing about our childhood before finally getting up for breakfast. Chapter 9. 3 days later, there was an auction. Before I crossed over, the original character had already received the invitation. He had originally planned to bid on the heart of an angel and propose to Rose. That day, I brought Bianca to the auction house. Not long after we sat down, I saw Rose walking in arm with Santiago. She was wearing a dazzling dress that was clearly a fake. Like, come on, you could tell. Rose stared at me for a long time. A smile slowly crept onto her lips, like she had everything under control. When it was time for the auction of the heart of an angel, the smugness in her eyes got even stronger. She looked completely confident. After several rounds of bidding, I successfully won the heart of an angel pink diamond necklace for 180 million. Yeah, 180 million. After paying with my card, the heart of an angel was immediately handed to me. Rose walked over arrogantly. With everyone in the room staring at us, she looked down at me with pure disdain. Julian, since you managed to win the heart of an angel for me, I'll give you another chance. As long as you apologize to me and Santi and let him become the general manager of your company, I might reluctantly accept your gift. The entire auction hall exploded in surprise. People were shocked. Some straight up laughed. Those who knew the original character even threw me disgusted looks. How could the president of the prestigious law group be so whipped by a woman? What a useless fool. I ignored all the mocking glances and looked at Rose with contempt. Oh, Miss Rose, I think you're misunderstanding something. I have no idea how you, wearing a fake, managed to get in here without even verifying your funds. Did you forget? You still owe me 6.5 million. Someone like you, a gold digger, is qualified to wear the heart of an angel? Chapter 10. The whole room burst into laughter instantly. Rose's face turned pale in a second. She clutched the hem of her dress tightly, her nails digging into her skin. Julian, you. Santiago rushed over and stood in front of Rose, angrily questioning me. Julian, why don't you give the heart of an angel to Rose? I looked at him mockingly. If you can come up with 180 million, I'll transfer the heart of an angel to you. You can give it to her. Santiago's face turned bright red. He couldn't say a word for a long time. Under their furious glares, I placed the heart of an angel around Bianca's smooth, jade-like neck. Bianca shyly leaned against me. Rose was furious. She grabbed Santiago and hurried away, throwing a bitter remark over her shoulder. Julian, don't think that bringing your childhood sweetheart to play this little game will get to me. I'm telling you, even if you kneel and beg me, I'll never look back. I shouted after her. 6.5 million. When are you paying me back? Rose didn't dare stay any longer and ran off in a panic. Chapter 11. In the following days, I heard Rose was trying to start a business and was looking for investors everywhere. Since the auction, everyone knew I had completely cut ties with her. When she was the vice president of Law Group, all those bosses who used to flatter her now avoided her like the plague. Out of desperation, she had to look for work just to survive. But no company dared hire her. They were scared of offending Law Group. To make things worse, the court ruled that she still had to pay me 6.5 million. One evening, I was entertaining clients at a high-end restaurant. To my surprise, the one serving us in our private room was Rose. She used to be somewhat charming, but now her face looked worn and exhausted. Her eyes were dull. That arrogant sparkle? Gone. When she saw me, she froze. Her face turned red, and she hurried out of the room. Soon another waiter replaced her. I didn't think much of it. I have a habit of taking morning walks. The next day, when I opened the door, I saw Rose standing outside the villa, dark circles under her eyes. I slowly walked toward her. She looked defeated. Julian, you've won. You knew I work at that restaurant, and you brought people there to humiliate me. Is it really that amusing to you? I admit you're playing hard to get really worked. I also admit I have feelings for you. Don't worry, I haven't let Santiago touch me. I'm still clean. You don't have to pretend anymore to provoke me. She reached out her hand like she was offering charity, looking helpless. Give me the heart of an angel, and I'll agree to marry you. I stared at her in shock. I had scolded her, slapped her, even sued her in court, and she still thought I was madly in love with her? Was everything I did just a way to get her attention in her mind? Then I understood. Typical female-centric narrative logic. Nothing made sense. Looks like I had to go all in. I stared into her eyes, my expression deadly serious. Rose, I don't love you anymore. Go as far away as possible. Don't you dare come near me again, understand? Chapter 12. Sure enough, Rose started trembling immediately. She completely broke down. It's impossible. How can you not love me? You love me so much. You're lying, aren't you? You're just jealous, right? When I didn't respond, she panicked. Julian, I was wrong. I've always loved you. I was just insecure. I didn't believe someone as outstanding as you could truly belong to me. That's why I kept acting out, making you prove your love over and over. Julian, you've gotten my attention. From now on, I'll care more about your feelings. Let's go back to how things were, okay? Her voice was pleading. Her eyes looked shattered. She searched my face desperately, trying to find even a trace of love. All she found was coldness and disgust. Rose, stop lying to yourself. I really don't love you anymore. Now get the hell out. With that second major move, I watched her collapse to the ground. Rose was terrified. She had been living miserably. Her lifestyle and status had fallen to rock bottom. The people who once fawned over her now looked at her with contempt. To survive, she had to take the waitress job she once looked down on. Even Santiago had grown distant. She muttered to herself, "It's impossible. You can't not love me. Stop pretending. You must be lying." Just then, Bianca walked out of the villa wearing one of my shirts. The collar hung wide open, revealing a large patch of snow-white skin. The kiss marks on her neck were obvious. Rose froze, mouth wide open, completely stunned. Bianca pressed herself against me and snuggled into my arms. "Hubby, why is Miss Rose here again? Hubby, you didn't kiss me this morning. I want a kiss." When Rose heard Bianca's playful tone, her face turned hopeless. She slowly slid down against the iron gate, her hand losing strength. I gently patted Bianca's head and leaned down to kiss her. Rose couldn't take it anymore. She stumbled away in panic. Chapter 13. 3 months later, I was in my office handling business when I suddenly received a bank notification. 6.5 million had been deposited into my account. Right after that, I got a message from Rose. "Julian, I've paid back what I owe you." My heart skipped a beat. Something felt off. I immediately called my assistant. "Go investigate everything Rose has been doing recently. Compile all the information and send it to me ASAP." The assistant agreed and rushed off. Logically, Rose should have been at her breaking point. How did she manage to raise over 6 million so quickly? That wasn't normal. Something was definitely fishy. Following the usual plot of female-centric stories, when the male and female leads are cornered, they tend to go crazy. I even hired extra bodyguards for close protection, just in case. Soon, my assistant returned with the report. Rose was still determined to start her own business. She had lived in the Law family's house since high school. Back then, whether in high school or college, she was always picked up by luxury cars, so everyone assumed she came from a rich family. Many of her relatives and friends didn't know I had broken off the engagement and removed her from the vice president position at Law Group. She used those connections to borrow money everywhere. She managed to raise over $45 million. Even now, she was still using the name of Law Group to make money. I wasn't about to take the fall for her mess. Moreover, her software development startup was already up and running. Word on the street was she'd hired 2 tech experts. My assistant checked out those so-called tech geniuses. Turns out they were just small-time players, nothing special. They only knew the basics, zero real skills. At this rate, with her crazy reckless spending, the company was going to go bankrupt sooner or later. Assistant, use the official website to drop an urgent announcement. State that Rose and I ended our engagement over a month ago, and I dismissed her from her position as vice president of Law Group. Also make it crystal clear that Rose's personal actions have nothing to do with Law Group. Understood, President Law. Less than 3 days after the announcement went live, my assistant rushed in, hyped up. President Law, Rose is finished. As soon as the announcement went out, tons of people accused Rose of fraud and said they were going to sue her. The 2 tech guys saw the news and freaked out. They're planning to run. All the remaining money Rose had was taken by Santiago. Rose is now running everywhere trying to find him. Now that was some good news. Chapter 14. The next day, just as I got home from work, I was startled when Rose suddenly jumped out from the roadside. It caught me off guard, but luckily the bodyguards reacted fast and immediately restrained her. At that moment, Rose looked completely worn out. Her hair was a mess, her eye sockets were sunken, and she looked like she had aged several years overnight. She looked at me with eyes full of pleading. Julian, I was wrong. Please help me. I really have nowhere to go. All my money was taken by that bastard Santiago. She broke down, tears streaming nonstop. I was wrong, Julian. I can't believe I did this to you for that jerk. I really have no way out. They want me to pay back the money, and they're going to sue me for fraud. The police have already opened a case. Please help me, lend me $45 million. I know you still love me, don't you? You won't just ignore me, right? If you lend me the money, I'll do anything. I swear I'll never hurt you again. Seeing that I still didn't say a word, her emotions completely shattered and she burst into loud sobs. Julian, I can be your mistress. I'll spend my whole life making it up to you. I really don't want to go to jail. I gently slapped her face. Rose, can't you see it yet? I don't love you anymore. Lend you $45 million? Do you seriously think you deserve that? Her expression froze instantly, her eyes filled with pure despair. Rose, didn't you bring all of this on yourself? Even if I were filthy rich, I wouldn't give you a single penny. Rose completely lost it. She glared at me, eyes bloodshot, face twisted with rage. Julian, if it weren't for that damn announcement you made, how could they sue me? You bastard, you'll never have a good ending. I didn't even bother arguing. Throw her out. If we see her again, call the police. The bodyguards worked together and tossed the still cursing Rose into the open space outside. Julian, I'll haunt you even as a ghost. One of the bodyguards threw a piece of paper at her. Rose, here's Santiago's current address. President Law says whatever feelings you two had are completely over now. Rose trembled as she picked up the paper from the ground. Her eyes were filled with madness. I stood on the second floor of the villa, my face dark. Thick clouds covered the moon, and the light suddenly dimmed. Rose disappeared entirely into the darkness. Chapter 15. 3 days later, my assistant knocked on the door. President Law, Santiago is dead. He was stabbed more than 10 times by Rose. She didn't run. She was arrested on the spot by the police. The police just called. Rose confessed to everything. No lies, no holding back. She wants to see you one last time. I nodded, thought for a moment, then decided to go. In the meeting room, I saw her through the glass. When I sat down, Rose was already across from me, wearing a yellow prison uniform. Her hair was cut short. She looked like an empty shell, eyes hollow and lifeless. She was nothing like the hysterical, screaming woman from 3 days ago. 2 prison guards stood behind her, one on each side. She stared at me for a long time. Half the meeting time passed before she finally spoke, her voice hoarse. Julian, I've thought a lot these past few days. I know you once loved me so much that no matter what I did, you would forgive me. So I became arrogant. I trampled all over your love without thinking twice. I took your kindness for granted. I know the ending I'm facing now is all my fault. She paused, then slowly lifted her head. Do you know, I had a very long dream. So long it felt like a whole lifetime. In that dream, we got married. You gave me everything, your company shares, all your wealth. I got it all, but I wasn't a good woman. My stupid pride made me feel like your kindness and the Law family's support were humiliating me. I was fooled by Santiago's sweet talk. I started taking revenge on you, on the Law family. In the dream, I was pregnant. You didn't know the child wasn't yours, yet you were happy like a kid. But in my eyes, you were just a fool. You immediately told your parents abroad the good news. But on the very first day they came back, they got into a serious car accident. They died on the spot. In the dream, that accident was planned by me and Santiago. And that still wasn't enough. I openly let Santiago live in our house. Whenever we argued, we would either hit you or curse you. Locking you in the basement became normal. In the end, you couldn't take it anymore and chose to commit suicide. But me and Santiago said that was what you deserved. When I woke up from that dream, I thought for a long time. I realized that if you had really married me, I probably would have done all those things. Luckily, you woke up. Now that I think about it, sometimes power and money really blind a person. You know, that day in front of your house, I saw you holding Bianca in your arms with that gentle look in your eyes. I truly envied her. I'm sorry for letting you meet someone as malicious as me. I wish you well, Julian. I sincerely hope you'll be happy from now on. Goodbye, Julian. After those last words, her usually calm face suddenly showed a smile. A bitter smile, but also one filled with relief. A year later, Rose was sentenced to death. Meanwhile, I was at the hospital with Bianca for a checkup. She was curled up in my arms, looking up at me playfully. Hubby, the doctor says it's twins. Do you want a son or a daughter? I gently scratched her nose. Only little kids ask that kind of question. I want both, a son and a daughter. What if they're both boys or both girls? Then we'll just have more. Hubby, I'm just scared you'll get tired. Then how about I lie down and you do the hard work, my dear? You're such a tease.